Hey y'all, this is Julian Rico. So I want to give y'all some news from the NFL for today. This will be about coaching news and a player that might have a success for the surgery. Let's get started. Starting with the Atlanta Falcons, where the Falcons wide receivers coach TJ Yates will remain as the wide receivers coach. Probably makes sense. They brought young receivers in Drake London, Van Jefferson from the trade with the Rams. Um, they're hoping to get another receiver, another receiver to pair with a new quarterback. Then here's the surprise one, and no one expect this one for Falcons fans. The Atlanta Falcons have got a new defensive coordinator, and his name is Jimmy Lake. Yes. If you don't know who Jimmy Lake is, well, I guess I'll get to know him. I'll get to know him. Now, Jimmy Lake, he's been the assistant head coach with the Rams. He is their new defensive coordinator, and I think this is a good move because you gotta think of what Jimmy did. All right. So as I'm reading it right now, and I'm sorry I'm doing this head in there because I'm trying to read the script. So let's continue. Jimmy Lake started his career in Eastern Washington as a graduate assistant. He was also a defensive back coach with Eastern Western in 2000. In 2004, he was the defensive backs coach in Washington, Buccaneers assistant defensive backs coach in 2006 to 2007. 2008, he was the defensive back coach. So basically, he's been alongside with the corners. Continue. Boise State in 2012 to 2013, defensive back coach and pass game coordinator. All right. Let's continue. He spent his years in Washington from 2014 all the way to 2021. So here it is. From 2014 to 15, defensive back coach. 2016 to 17, co-defensive coordinator, defensive back coach. I'm not surprised about that. Washington as the defensive coordinator. That is the reason why he got this job. He was the defensive coordinator in Washington from 2018 to 2019. Then he took the head coaching job from 2020 to 2021. He was named the head coach. Then he joined the Rams in 2023 as the assistant head coach, and now he is back as the defensive coordinator. So, is this the right move for Atlanta? Well, I will say yes, because he's been a defensive back coach for a long time. He's been a defensive backs coach, so he's going to be like more of a stop the passing game, running defense. They should be good on that. I think this is a good hire. My only concern is Raheem Morris will still call the defense. Jimmy Lake will probably assemble the team that he's going to build for the defense. So I think it would make sense that Jimmy Lake, as the new defense coordinator, he's going to build the defense while Raheem Morris will remain as calling the defense. And if the season doesn't go well and Raheem Morris isn't going well, Jimmy Lake is there and he'll be calling the defense. So I think that's an impressive hire for the Atlanta Falcons. Also, a reminder, they did interview Sean Desai, the former Eagles DC. So probably they were not interested in him. Let's go to pass. We got some injury news. Let's get to the injury news, and this is a huge loss for the Chiefs defensive ends as Charles Okwuma. I can't say it. Sorry. If you already heard this news earlier, Chiefs pass rusher Charles suffered a torn ACL, so he is out. Not just the season, but he's not going to play in the Super Bowl. So, you don't have Charles, but you still have George Karlaftis, and there's still, plus, Willie Gay will probably play in the Super Bowl. So, now the Chiefs, what they're going to do now, you got 2 weeks until the Super Bowl. Get to work. But it's a big loss here. All right, let's get to the big news that happened just a few minutes ago. Chargers are expecting to hire former Ravens director of player personnel, Joe Hortzy, I think it's Joe Hortzy. I want to make sure. Joe Hortiz. There we go. Joe Hortiz as their next general manager. So earlier they hired Jim Harbaugh last week. Now they hire Jim Hortzy from the Ravens, and I think this is a good hire because again, he's the director of player personnel. He's been alongside with the assistant general manager and the GM. He's been alongside John Harbaugh as well. So the connection with him and Jim Harbaugh, there's going to be some similarities in the roster. Now, what is his duties? It's going to be, what is the roster going to be built? Are they going to bring in a young receiver? Because you don't know if Keenan Allen, Mike Williams will probably come back. Do they need to fix the offensive line? Defense, will they need some new defense? Are they going to bring in a young defense? So we'll see what happens. TJ Hawkinson has successfully surgery to repair the ACL today. He torn his ACL in week 16, so good news, Vikings fans. TJ Hawkinson successful on the surgery. Let's get to Philadelphia because Philadelphia, they hired Vic Fangio last week, and then Sunday or Saturday they hired Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator. So that was two giant ones. Now here's the big one. I'm told as of now, or a couple hours ago, maybe I'm pretty sure this is right. The Eagles are expecting to hire former Seahawks defensive coordinator Clint Hurtt as their defensive line coach. This is a good move. Why? He's going to be coaching alongside Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox. So that is going to be an interesting hire, and I like this hire too. All right. Now Seattle has an open DC, so whoever the new head coach in Seattle will be, he's going to find his defense coordinator. But Clint Hurtt, real good hire. But again, for Seattle fans, with Pete Carroll gone, all the coaching staff is available, and another assistant is joining. Another assistant from Clint Carroll's staff is joining the the Philadelphia Eagles. Carl Scott will be the defensive backs coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think he's going to have to bring in some players to help this Eagles secondary who they brought in Darius Slade, James Bradbury, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They were good, but until this year, it's not been their year. So I think Carl Scott will do great in there. Let's get to coaching interviews. So we got 2 head coaching interviews left. So Washington, Seattle. Let's start with Seattle. I am told from Tom Pelissero today that he's reporting that the Seahawks are interviewing Ravens defense coordinator Mike Macdonald today. Also, we're told that they're interviewing Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator. So that's another good move to hear. So whoever they get, I'm still think Dan Quinn is taking this job. Here's another guy who could take this job. Aziz Ujiro, the Panthers defensive coordinator. That's another guy a lot of people are interested to keep an eye on. So keep an eye on that one. Let's go to the Bucs offensive coordinator hiring after losing Dave Canales last week. They interviewed Ken Dorsey, who's now with the Browns as offensive coordinator. Brian Johnson, former Eagles offensive coordinator. I'm told they have completed an interview with Alex Van Pelt, the former Browns offensive coordinator. If they bring back Baker Mayfield, you got a connection with Baker and Van Pelt. They both were in Cleveland. Baker was Van Pelt was Baker's offense coordinator in Cleveland. There's some connection right there. They also interviewed Lions wide receivers coach Antoine Randall Elliott. I'm not sure, for the offensive coordinating job. So bringing in a guy who did great things with Amon-Ra St. Brown. which I think it would be a surprise if hiring him. It would be nice. All right, let's get to Washington, and that will be it for today. The Washington Commanders are interviewing. Sorry, not hiring. Sorry, my fault. They're interviewing again the same people I said earlier with the Seahawks, Mike Macdonald, and Ben Johnson for the head coaching jobs. So that is all I got for y'all. That is all for y'all. What was the big news for me? The big news was Joe Hortzik becoming the new general manager for the Chargers, and he's going to be with Jim Harbaugh. And I think it's going to be a one heck of an offseason for the Chargers. And for the rest of the team, we'll see what happens. Hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment below. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.